the same time, I have the backwater rifle now, which uses 10mm rounds, which are just as easy to find, so I think I'll get rid of Old Painless for now, anyway. There you go. I'll get rid of the missile launcher too. All I used it for was just for fun, really. I could have sold the Power Fist. I'm gonna have to go do that. Screw it, I'll just put it away. I think I'll go ahead and put this one away too, because I don't really use a sniper rifle. I mean, from long distance I use my regular rifle, Lincoln repeater, or the backwater rifle now, so I don't really need to be carrying that around. I don't really use regular handguns anymore, one-handed weapons. I always use the rifles, so I don't think I'll be using this either. This also uses the 10mm rounds, so I think I'm just going to get rid of that. So the Zwan Long, terrible shotgun. Lincoln's repeater. Backwater A321. And the Power Fist. Alright, so let's work out our weapon situation. I think number 1's going to be the backwater. Number 2 will be A321. Number 3 will be Zwan Long. Number 4 will be the terrible shotgun. Number 5 will be Lincoln's repeater. Number 6 will be frag grenades. I guess number 7 will be a plasma grenade. Or a pulse grenade, whatever. And then number 8 should be the Power Fist. Alright, there you go. We've got our inventory fairly limited. Some of these extra weapons are just for repairing later. Recon armor's for repair. That's for repairing the stealth armor. That's to boost our repair skill. And that's to boost our science skill. Even though I'm not sure we'll ever need it right now, because we're over everything but the maximum science, so... In fact, with that said, I might as well get rid of Lesko's lab coat. Because, like I said, I don't think it's going to actually help us. Or will it? Let's see. Skills. Science is 84, which means the lab coat's only going to take us to 94. But the only way we're going to get to the hardest computer hacks is to have 100 in the skills, so it's not going to help us, so I might as well get rid of it. It's just dead weight. Rad resistance would be nice, but I already got the perk that gives us rad resistance of like 25 or something, plus I have another perk now that has rad absorption, which means the rads go away on their own after a time, so I do need to get rid of that Nuka-Cola, which means I'll go put it in that machine upstairs. Let's see if this has given us another compound while I'm at it. Giving us Radix. We don't have to worry about that.
I hope things are going well with you today, sir.
I hope I don't kill you, Wadsworth. I think that's about it. Let's see, what perks do we have? We have a lot of perks. Comprehension will come in handy. It'll give us 2 points per skill book when we use skill books after the next level, the last level.
I remember this area.
So yeah, we're down to that. Oh, I could have got rid of the blood packs. Let's go do that while I'm thinking about it.
Where? Some help here!
Really? You need some help against mole rats? Really, Star? You're pretty weak sauce there. They're just mole rats. I think you can handle it. Alright, let's go. The rest of this area should be clear. Go to the family, give Vance his blood packs for monies to get it out of our inventory. Sorry if you guys don't appreciate these videos where I do a bunch of this inventory management stuff, but it's part of the game, and I know I don't have to keep it in, but I kind of like to keep it in. Just so everybody knows where to go, where to sell stuff, where to trade stuff, and that sort of thing. I mean, one of the reasons I started Let's Playing was because I watched
You're
people
on point. I shall back you up.
skip a bunch of this stuff and it bugged me, so I don't want to do that too. So overall, my review of Point Lookout, my views of it anyway, I don't hate it, but it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite quests of the game overall. A lot of it seemed really kind of pointless. I mean, it was some random explorations, and the ending didn't really turn out well. I don't know if there's multiple endings to it, or if the two guys that are fighting just end up killing you, trying to kill you anyway.
Well, look who...
Always a pleasure to receive you. Again.
who's back.
So what do you need? Sure.
Oh, let's see. I don't think you have anything I want. I was hoping you'd have some more 44 rounds, but it doesn't look like you're going to.
What do you...
Alright, so let's get out of here and I'll continue my views on Point Lookout. I don't know, there were some decent weapons and items out of the deal, like the backwater rifle I have right now. To me, that makes it worthwhile to do the Point Lookout missions, if nothing else, is to get this gun. Because it's almost as good as the Lincoln Repeater, but it uses way more widely available ammo, the 10mm rounds. Whereas if you guys have been keeping up with my series so far, you know that
Watch it, will you?
I've had to constantly switch between the Lincoln Repeater and other guns because I keep running out of ammo for it. So there is that. I mean, the Point Lookout doesn't have bad missions or anything. It's just a lot of random stuff. I mean, a lot of the side quests and stuff you could have just had in the regular Capital Raceland, it seems like. Those little missions where we went into those gas pocket hole things for the scientist notes, that seemed rather pointless. Nothing came of it. So I don't know. It just seemed really out of whack. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Yay me! Now I know a lot of you, having watched the Point Lookout videos, will know that I hated the appearance of the Reavers in certain areas of the Point Lookout missions because they're overpowered and ridiculous. They're unbalanced compared to all the other enemies in the game, but even with that said, it's not the fault of Point Lookout because the Reavers are a product of the Broken Steel DLC. Because Broken Steel allows your character to level up from 20 to 30, they introduced some enemies in the game to kind of help, I assume, balance out the being overpowered yourself from level 20 to level 30, but they really didn't work on the Reavers quite as well as one would hope. But Broken Steel introduced the Reavers and the Super Mutant Overlords and some albino rad scorpions, which can be at times somewhat as overpowered as what I would assume the Reavers are. I would say that the Overlords for the Super Mutants are overpowered as well, but they're only overpowered early on when they show up. Like around level 20-ish, give or take a few levels, because they're one of the first ones of these new enemies that show up in the game. And early on they can be a bit overpowered because they're coming at you with like Gatling lasers, and they have a lot of health, and usually they're surrounded by other super mutants getting in the way. So they can be a bit challenging to get rid of, but they're also, out of all of the new enemies, the three that I know of anyway, the Super Mutant Overlords seem to be the most balanced, because it seems like within a few levels of finally beating them, you're able to deal with them. Not instantly like the other Super Mutants, but you're able to deal with them reasonably. They provide a reasonable challenge without being crazy overpowered. But the Reavers especially, and even the albino rad scorpions to a certain extent, are a bit unbalanced. But like I said, it's not the fault of the Point Lookout DLC, it's the fault of Broken Steel DLC.
Be vigilant.
So, I'm not going to fault Point Lookout for having the Reavers in it that I encountered, although those were extremely annoying situations, and those were the only times I ever died, and would ever die in the DLC at this point. I can't fault Point Lookout for that. The only fault I can give it in regards to the Reavers is that it allowed for areas for the Reavers to spawn. But I don't think that Point Lookout could really be accountable for that, because it had areas where ghouls were going to spawn anyway, and I think the game just decided that I was of such a high level that it needed to spawn corresponding ghoul levels, and the Reavers just happened to be part of that. If we hadn't been such a high level, if we'd been under level 20 at Point Lookout, I think the boss ghoul characters we would have met would have been the Roamers, which are the next highest ghouls. Either the Roamers or the glowing ones, I can't remember. But the Reavers are just so ridiculous. Even going from like the glowing ones or the Roamers to the Reavers, I mean, it's just utter ridiculous. It got to the point where I wanted to
There may be hostiles in the area.
where I wanted to use a fat man just to overpower them, but anyways, so overall I don't mind Point Lookout. I think it was a lot of pointless exploring going on. I think even the main mission in Point Lookout ended up kind of pointless overall. It seemed like some of the side quests in the main game have more of a story and more of a point and reason to being there than a lot of what Point Lookout did. But there is some interesting loot in Point Lookout that makes it worth going for, like the rifle that we have, the backwater rifle, and Desmond's glasses, which we're also wearing, is an interesting item to have because it boosts small guns and explosions. And it's glasses, so it's not going to get damaged. You're not going to be repairing them all the time. You're going to end up having your character die before you ever end up having to repair the glasses itself. So that's worth having. So I don't know. As far as my obsession with the lighthouse went, trying to get the lighthouse going, I think that if we had sided with the other guy, not Desmond, but the brain guy, I think he would have had us activate the lighthouse in order for his mind control thing to work across the area. That would have been my guess, and that's why we never got around to activating it, is because we sided with Desmond for the most part. So, yeah, and I don't know if the ending could have gone better if we just switched sides earlier on, or if we just stuck to the same side the entire time. I don't know if they're scripted to turn against us, both guys, no matter what we do. I really don't know, but the way it turned out for us, it seemed rather like a pointless waste of time. It seemed like I spent all of those hours in that side quest for nothing. And by the way, if you let the character idle here, the camera does this for some reason. So I'm just gonna let it do this. I'm not saying you shouldn't get Point Lookout, because if you get this game, you should get the Game of the Year edition that comes with it anyway. And I'm not saying you should avoid the Point Lookout DLC missions, because like I said, the loot itself is worth having, and you also get the experience for extra levels and all that. So I don't know, it's just not my favorite. I like to have missions that have a point to them, like Operation Anchorage had a clear, precise point to it. You were going into the simulation in order to open the vault to get the technology for the outcasts and stuff. And the simulation itself was straightforward. You were going to infiltrate the Anchorage area and take down the shields, and you had all these missions, step by step by step, and it went nice and smooth. You knew what your options were, you knew what the goals were, it was all good to go. And Point Lookout didn't even have goals. It just said, here, go to the mansion. And beyond that, you could just randomly explore places, randomly come across various quests, and I don't know. It seemed like a lot of that could have just been included in the Capital Wasteland itself, especially a lot of the extra missions in Point Lookout. I would have rather it been more linear, where they just sit here. Let's go to the mansion. There's something going on there. Let's stick to that. And then all these extra side quests and stuff we didn't really need. But I don't know. That's my opinion.
Watch for signs of trouble.
I much prefer the Operation Anchorage DLC, which is the only other one I played. Haven't played out the Pit, haven't played out Mothership Zeta, and I haven't played out the Broken Steel, because those missions occur after the end of the official end of the game, the main story. So we'll have to see how those turn out. But so far, yeah, Point Lookout's my least favorite. If you guys haven't guessed already. But I've rambled on long enough, and I think I'm going to end this set of videos here. Thanks for watching, boys and girls. I am the Good Old Gamer. We've been playing more Fallout 3. This has just been kind of a wrap-up to Point Lookout, where we've done some more inventory management and got ready for the next DLC missions, whichever they may be. I'm not sure if it's going to be the Pit or Mothership Zeta. We'll just have to stay tuned and find out next time. Anyways, let's make a permanent save. And that's it for now. Bye for now. Wow, that was redundant.